Hello everyone, welcome to today's Japan coronavirus update. So as of 8:45 p.m. Japan time, March 28th, we have 1,664 cases, which is an increase of 150 cases just today. That is now the most amount of cases confirmed in a day. Mind you that my last update, I mentioned at that period of time, that was a day with the most confirmed cases. And so since then, like every day, there has been an increase of cases that surpassed the numbers the day before. So the situation in Japan, I feel like, is worsening. Looking at this outbreak path, I think we can see the beginnings of an exponential growth underway. Unfortunately, but only time will tell. And that's just my speculation, just eyeballing this graph, seeing the recent sharp increases in the past few days. Let me tell you why Japan can't afford a situation like Italy or Spain or even now the US. Not that those countries can afford it either, but Japan in particular wouldn't want to find themselves in the same situation. So I'll take the prefecture that I live in for some perspective. So this past week, after a couple weeks without newly confirmed cases, we have seen an increase to 9 official cases. Now that's kind of disputed because there's like imported cases and stuff. So the number is a little bit off, but just to be conservative, I'll agree with this stat for now. Now let's look at this graph that I found after watching this documentary special that covers the outbreak in Japan. It's very worthwhile to watch, so the link to this documentary is in the description. Anyways, this showcases the capacity of Japan's medical apparatus. So my prefecture here in Okinawa only has less than 50 beds to accommodate infectious patients. I do not anticipate the number of confirmed cases here to like magically disappear or go away. So I don't think it's safe to assume that ever anyways. So even here, it would not take that many confirmed cases, like in proportion to the rest of the world, to overrun a healthcare system as fragile as Japan's. And obviously that can be reflected to the rest of the country as well. So panic seems to be ensuing in Japan because the agriculture minister is telling people not to hoard food. Yeah, don't hoard food, people, but you need to be proactive and grab a little extra when you go out so you have some kind of a stockpile, right? The appeal followed reports of shoppers rushing to supermarkets in Tokyo on Thursday, apparently triggered by the governor's call on residents to stay at home over the weekend amid a rise in coronavirus cases. Speaking at a task force meeting on Thursday, Ito emphasized that there is no need to panic and hoard food. He said that there are no interruptions in the nation's steady supplies of food and there are sufficient stocks. So the population seems to be waking up to the realities that we are seeing in the rest of the world by this. But in better news, I guess Japan's a little bit equipped to deal with a shortage of some sort because the ministry says the country has stocks of around 3.8 million tons of rice, which is enough to meet 6.2 months of domestic demand. Japan imports about 90% of wheat from the United States and other countries, but the ministry puts a wheat stockpile at about 930,000 tons, enough to meet 2.3 months of domestic demand. I think that puts Japan at a slightly better advantage than maybe some other countries, provided that people don't go out and cause an increase of demand of these things, but I think you should consider a lockdown to occur and plan accordingly to you and your family's needs. But that doesn't mean you have to hoard food and all that stuff. Just take what you need, all the essential items, right? I don't support panic buying, but I also advocate that you prepare some sort of way for what might entail in this rapidly evolving situation. Hopefully people are smart enough to distinguish the two because some people are fucking idiots and they're not so bright. It is good that people are coming out speaking against non-essential gatherings like the governor of Tokyo insisted, and we see that some people are somewhat taking this seriously. Even the governor of Osaka has come out and told people to stay home. Yeah, we all must stay home because I just don't think it's that hard to stay home. I don't know, I'm an introvert, so. Some people within the Japanese government also seem to be waking up to the realities of the situation. Here, Abe warns of a prolonged battle with the coronavirus. Japan's prime minister has warned people in the country to brace for a prolonged battle against the coronavirus. Shinzo Abe said that outbreaks in the United States and Europe suggest that the number of cases in Japan could jump by more than 30 times in just 2 weeks. He said Government officials will work with local authorities to curb the spread of the virus, but he says it is not necessary to declare a state of emergency at this stage. Although he didn't call it the state of emergency tonight, which I personally think that call does need to be made as a preventative measure rather than a mitigation effort later on when the thing gets worse. I think the reason why these other countries are in the state that they're in is that they drag their feet in doing anything. And measures taken in an emergency situation like this, I would think, would be far more effective with less than the population has an opportunity to get exposed to the virus. That's the whole issue with this thing, right? Is that governments wait until things get worse to take the political or economic hit that's already inevitable. And then it doesn't look like it worked because they did it too late. It is a gamble that everyone is losing. So I will have to disagree again. And I'll assert that Japan is handling this, again, irresponsibly, because they should be handling this from a prevention standpoint rather than deal with it when it comes. We've seen the consequences of that kind of thinking in all these other countries. So I would think Japan would avoid that, but I guess not. All I suggest at this point is get your preparations in order in a humane, rational manner. Please do not be an idiot. Grab a little extra this week when you go shopping, and don't go out if you don't have to. So I'm part of the population deemed as high risk for this virus, so my family has done what they need to do and what they can do to help. So only one person is designated to leave the house to go out if we need to go out. And then, they just go and get what they need to get and then come back home. So, I think everyone should do this, and I suggest that everyone do this, even if you have someone in your house that's high risk or not. Staying at home might make a difference. It can save lives, save potential medical supplies for somebody else. So it's a small thing that you can do to make a big difference in the outcome of the situation. Sorry, that's my dog. So that's all I have for today. So leave your thoughts below, like and share this to share the message, and subscribe for more updates. See you guys next time.